let's dive in. I did that, what's the word? When I say, I think everyone knows what skewer is though. Hi, I'm Zoe and I'm the owner of Into the Eve. Welcome back to another video. Today is another part of my melt and pour, what should we say, learning journey. I thought today, because I'm so brand new to melt and pour, like I don't really follow anyone that uses it. I've never really done any research into melt and pour. I thought today might be quite a nice idea together to look at some melt and pour inspiration on Instagram and just have a look at what other people have made. And if I can try and guess how they might have done it, and if I like anything, save it and give it a crack myself. So let's dive in. So I'm just scrolling through Instagram. I've just searched for melt and pour and I'm just seeing what comes up. I think most creative people tend to do this when you want some inspiration or you want to just see how other people do things. You probably go on the social media platforms and search for it. So I'm just having a little scroll through, seeing what looks interesting to me. And we'll have a little guess of how they might have made it or like how I would personally give that a go. Okay, so the first one is by someone called Edgar, and I had a little look at their page and a lot of their designs seem really, really intricate and very, very cool. I'll insert a little picture here. It looks like the soaps are made in like a, what's the word, like a loaf mold like we would use, but a tall and skinny one. And at first glance, it looks like it might be, well, it's melt and pour, but it looks like it might be a mix of like a plain base and the see-through like glycerin base type one. So what they would have done is done it layer by layer. But it looks like the crystal bits, I'm going to assume they've made like a clear block first of the melt and pour, chopped it up and just left it in chunks. It looks like quite like a geo design. So the way I'm going to guess that they've done it is the black first, putting black colour into the what's the word, like opaque base, adding that in, and then with a spatula trying to leave little indents so it's like a funny angle. Then they've gone in with the blue clear melt and pour base with the chunks in it, another layer of black, another layer of clear with the chunks on the top, and it looks like they may have done the gold bits afterwards at first glance. That's what it looks like. If you wanted to add that in the soap throughout, you would, when you've done the black layer, sprinkle some mica in. But I'm going to assume that they haven't done that because I think with melt and pour it does snap a little bit easier if you've got like too much of a powder layer in between. So I think they've done it afterwards by maybe like carving on the actual outside of the soap, then like with a paintbrush with the mica going inside. So that looks really cool. Could do that in cold process soap. But you would probably have to focus more on the outside afterwards by painting little bits of sparkles on and stuff, because again, cold process soap isn't translucent. Not too sure if it's really my style, but I would be willing to give something like that a go in the future. I just thought I'd show you what I'm on about when I refer to a loaf mold. I mean a mold like this, where it's long and it's got like the silicone liner on the inside. That's just a classic soap mold. You get different shapes and sizes for them, but that's what I'm referring to. Okay, another one by Edgar. They've got quite a few. So it's like a cactus sort of like Sahara Desert type vibe. So what they would have done, you can get tube molds, different shapes and sizes. They've obviously got a cactus one and a circle one. So they would have pre-made the cactus soap and the circle ones, and they would have gone through the soap layer by layer. So they would have had like a tube, a loaf mold, as I referred to before, done the little tiny brown layer of soap to begin with, like poured it all in, then put the cactus inside the cactus tube, then the brown bit, another cactus, and just layer by layer they would have done it like that. So it looks very, very intricate at first, but it's actually would be a very basic thing to make, I think. I haven't tried that sort of design with melt and pour myself though. I've done something similar with like cold process soap and with embeds, but that looks really, really cool. So yeah, like that one. Okay, so next up we have a lovely soap sort of design. I'll insert the picture here as well. So what they would have done is they would have used little circle cavity molds, and it looks like, again, they may have done like an opaque soap base with the glycerin see-through base, added colour to each one, and it looks at first glance like they may have like got each one in a different jug, poured them in at the same time, and then with a little spatula, like a pen or something, not a pen, a little what's it called? Skewer. With a little skewer from the top to the bottom, gone round in like a little feather pattern design. So again, it looks quite intricate, but it's actually very basic, but intricate. Like I would definitely love to give that a go. Yeah, I like that one. That's really, really cool. We next up have another very classic soap design. I'll insert the picture here. It's a seaside type vibe. So what they would have done, it looks, I think the whole thing might be melt and pour. They would have used the opaque base at the bottom, added in probably some like orange peel powder maybe, or like pumice stones to give the gritty effect, with a little bit of mica to colour the soap. Added that in as the first layer. Then the rest of it is just coloured see-through melt and pour with opaque melt and pour. And they've either in one jug put all the colours in one by one, given it a mix, then poured it in the mould, or they've just gone one at a time in the mould, pouring the colours in and maybe swirling it around. So it's a very intricate looking design, a very classic sort of soap design, but it looks very, very cool with the melt and pour, with the different sort of like translucentness, if that's a word. So I like that, and that's Brambleberry, that's really, really cool. This one looks really, really cool, and I don't know how they've done it, I've never seen a video on it. But at first glance, what I'm going to assume they've done is they've probably got like hexagon little wax melt type molds. You know, those little beady molds you can get for wax melt. It's really, really small. I'm going to assume they have a hexagon one, and they've just pre-made their melt and pour, put them in the little hexagon shapes, waited till they cooled down, popped them out, made a plain melt and pour soap, then very, very carefully laid those in there. Or they might have been at the bottom of the mold before they poured in the base to go on top. That looks very, very cool, and it looks like it's part of the soap challenge as well for, in 2023. So yeah, that, I actually think I'm going to give that a go. That looks really, really exciting. We've got another classic soap design here. It is the quartz, the rose quartz, a crystal sort of design. So the way they would have made these is they would have had a basic square mold, or whatever shape mold, maybe even an actual loaf mold. When the melt and pour had set, they would have chopped it up into smaller pieces and then just carefully edged parts away with a knife. And that's it. Really, really cool. The only thing with that is you get a lot of like waste soap. So I'm sure they would have found good use for it. But yeah, very, very classic, cool design. Okay, the final one looks very, very cool, but I think I know how they've done it. So I think the way they would have done it is they've got clear melt and pour base, part of it they've coloured pink, part of it blue, and they would have poured that into like a single cavity mould at either end, so the colours sort of meet in the middle. And the explosion type looking bits, I'm pretty sure is just opaque melt and pour soap, and they've just poured it from a height into the mould. And I think that's literally it. Oops. Throwing things around. I think that's literally it, but that looks very, very cool. You wouldn't be able to get that sort of effect in cold processed soap because it is opaque, you can't see through it, and that's why it works in that. So that is very, very cool, and if I ever use melt and pour, I think I'll give that a go. So these designs look so cool, and I could have done that all day, but I just thought I'd show you guys some of the really, really interesting ones that I found, and some classic designs. It's definitely given me so much inspiration for trying some melt and pour designs in the future, and even for some that I can translate into our current cold process soaps that we make. Some of them wouldn't work in cold process soap because, as I said before, cold process soap is opaque, so some of the designs really do rely on the translucentness of it. So we can't do, all those wouldn't work, but the one with like the little feather pattern design, we could do that on the top of the soap or at the bottom. I could technically do the geode type of soap, but it just wouldn't look very translucent. It would be like a bit of like jelly or something. Like, it wouldn't look quite right because it would be opaque, but you could do the actual shape of it. And maybe there's some sort of shapes that I could do in the future that aren't a geode, but I could, you know, carve out a sculpture or something, I don't know. Thank you so much for watching another video. I'm excited to be on this melt and pour journey. It's just to sort of preface this by saying I'm never going to convert to being a fully melt and pour brand. Melt and pour for me is just another way of adding a little bit of fun into what we already do. So I'm just looking at really cool designs that I can implement into some brand new cold process soaps that we're making, and seeing how we can have a mix of both just to add a bit of fun. I would mainly use melt and pour with the translucent base because that is something that I can't really make with cold process soap. You can actually make translucent cold process soap, but it's really, really hard, and I don't think I'm quite ready to give that a go as yet, but I don't know, watch this space. Again, thank you so much for watching this video. I really, really appreciate every single view. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you really like this video, don't forget to have a look at other social platforms. We love YouTube, obviously. We love Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, the lot. So come and say hi on there. If not, I'll see you next week at 2 p.m.